Hello and welcome to the second in a video series on the Winnemucca Futures Project. We are now looking at what the key drivers that will shape the future of Humboldt County are. The participants at the scenario planning event came up with these top 20, the top 20 drivers that they felt would have the biggest impact on Humboldt County's future. Take a few minutes, pause the video if you need to read through these top 20 drivers. See how you feel they represent Humboldt County. What the participants did then is they ranked these drivers on how important they were to the future of Humboldt County and how certain they were to have an impact on the community. Although this is a bit confusing of a scatter diagram, you can see how we found clusters or areas of focus for those drivers. And this is how they turned out. We end up with a cluster that represents economic resilience and diversity, and another cluster that represents community adaptability and responsiveness. What we do with those two axes is we put them on an axis with a community adaptability and responsiveness and economic resilience and diversity. And we start to think, and the participants all thought, what it would be like, what Humboldt County would be like, given that we had to either increase or decrease in those areas of focus. For instance, if we had an increase in community adaptability and responsiveness, we might see Humboldt County as a highly responsive and adaptable community that is shaping its own future. On the other hand, if we had a decrease in community adaptability and responsiveness, we might see a fragmented and disorganized community that fails to respond to changing events. Also, economic resilience and diversity can be increased, and we felt as if a diverse economy that capitalizes on challenges and new opportunities would represent an increase in that area. And a decrease might be a commodity-based economy that rides the boom and bust cycle. So what the scenario planning participants did is they looked at each of the areas that might represent an increase or a decrease in those valuable areas that represent the impacts on what Humboldt County might be experiencing in the future. And they played them out. What would Humboldt County be like if they had an increase in community adaptability and responsiveness and an increase in economic resilience and diversity? That would represent what scenario B would be like. And this is, take a few moments, pause the video, take a few moments to take a look at these four scenarios and think to yourself, what would you have done with an exercise like this? What the participants did is they explored how the future might unfold under each of those scenarios, each of those quadrants. They considered the triple bottom line, the social aspects, economic aspects, and the environmental impacts. They looked out in year 2012, 2020, and 2030 to see how the future might look. They looked at how the key set of drivers will shape the future of the Winnemucca community. Here they are again, with the names the participants decided. Let it ride, shared abundance, failure to respond, an oops scenario, and the wild, wild west. Just pause the video for a moment and think to yourself, what do you think the future of Humboldt County would be in the social, economic, and environmental? And what would be happening on the ground? What would the timeline be? What things might be happening in 2012, 2020, and 2030? Take a few moments as this video ends to scratch some ideas down. To have a stab at scenario thinking. What might it be like to have a shared abundance in the future? We'll continue on with what the participants came up with in the next video.